Today's verse is John chapter 1, verse 14. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory, glory as of the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth. John is still in the opening of his Gospel, the prologue, verses 1 through 18. He has just told us that the Word, the Logos, was with God and was God, the one through whom all things were made. Now he, surprised, shocks us. The eternal Word became flesh. Let's slow down on each phrase. The Word became flesh. The Greek is sarx egeneto. John does not say the Word appeared to be human, he says the Word became flesh. Sarx means full human reality, frail, mortal, hungry, touchable. This is the mystery of the Incarnation. Jesus is fully God and fully man. Against every temptation to make Jesus a spirit being hovering above the real world, John anchors him in skin and bone. God does not save us from a distance, he enters our condition. And dwelt among us. The verb is skenoo, literally tabernacled or pitched his tent among us. John is pointing back to the Old Testament tabernacle in the wilderness where God's presence lived in the middle of the camp. Exodus said, "Let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell in their midst." John says that story has reached its fulfillment. The presence that once filled a tent now fills a person. The portable meeting place with God has moved into our neighborhood in Jesus. And we have seen his glory. Glory, doxa, is the radiant weight of who God is. Remember Moses in Exodus 33. "Show me your glory." God answered by proclaiming his name and character. When John says, "We have seen his glory," he's claiming eyewitness testimony. The apostles saw the character and power of God shining in the works and the way of Jesus, his signs, his compassion, his cross, and his resurrection. The greatest display of glory is not blinding light, but self-giving love. Glory as of the only Son from the Father. The phrase, only Son, translates monogenes, the unique, one-of-a-kind Son. Not created, not adopted later, but uniquely sharing the Father's nature. John is not giving us philosophy, he is giving us relationship. The Father loves the Son, and through the Son we are invited into that fellowship. Full of grace and truth. Grace is charis, the generous favor we don't deserve. Truth is aletheia, reality as God defines it. Together, grace and truth echo the Old Testament words hesed ve'emet, steadfast love and faithfulness, the very words God spoke to Moses when he revealed his glory. John's point is surprised, stunning. The same covenant love and faithfulness that defined God in the Old Testament are now embodied in Jesus. He is the living revelation of God's character. Why does this matter for us? First, dignity of our humanity. If the Word became flesh, then your body, your ordinary life, your work and rest and relationships matter to God. Following Jesus is not escaping creation, but becoming fully alive within it. Second, nearness of God. You do not have to climb a ladder to heaven. Heaven has come down in Christ. You do not have to guess what God is like. Look at Jesus. Compassionate with the broken, firm with hypocrisy, patient with learners, fierce against evil. Third, the shape of glory. In John's Gospel, the hour of glory is the cross. True glory is not ego and applause. It is self-giving love that bears our sin. When John says, "We have seen his glory," he prepares us to see it most clearly where the world would never look. At Golgotha. Fourth, the balance we need, full of grace and truth. Grace without truth becomes sentimentality. Truth without grace becomes sharp and cold. In Jesus, they come together perfectly. He tells the truth that heals, and he gives the grace that empowers change. As his people, we are called to carry both. Finally, the new dwelling place. Because Jesus tabernacled among us, and because he pours out the Spirit, Paul will later say that we are God's temple. The presence that filled the tent and filled Jesus now lives in his people. Wherever you go today, home, work, school, you carry the presence of God. For reflection, breathe slowly and pray. Jesus, you are the Word made flesh. Make my life a dwelling for your presence. Fill me with your grace and truth. Let your glory be seen in love.